What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. Want to thank my sponsor, Steel Supplements. Link and discount code down in the description. You also know I'm a Weeble preferred influencer. Best promotion in the pinned comment. Only a week left. Prior to September, $100 deposit minimum to get the free fractional shares. But at least for the next week, click the link, open account, deposit any amount, a single dollar. They are going to give you free fractional shares. And if you've been watching my channel, you know a couple things have happened. Number one, kind of went with more longer form videos. Number two, started to compare Madden 24 to a lot of older games. All Pro Football, Backbreaker, got some NFL 2K5 comparisons coming up. But one thing I haven't done is compare it to a modern sports game, which is what we're going to do today. So it's important that I just let you guys understand when you go backwards and you compare the movement, the AI, the logic, how the game looks to the older games. I truly believe that Madden struggles to be on par with those games. That's why it's so difficult for me to sit here and compare it to games that have lived up in my expectation of what a next-gen console can deliver. And that's why videos like this, I didn't personally feel like were going to be well received, because there's such a stark contrast, which we're going to very clearly see, between the quality of both of these games. So that's why you haven't seen these type of comparisons, I guess. I also understand when I do these comparisons, people talk about how it's different sports, it doesn't matter, all of these different factors for why EA continually gets a pass for making one of the worst sports games of all time, and doing so on a yearly basis. So with that in mind, you've obviously been looking at a clipping issue here, a warping issue, but ultimately, for me, what comes down to attention to detail. Paying attention to what you're doing, the assets in the game, and making sure they work. So with that in mind, one thing I want to point out when you look at what's happening here. This is the sideline with the new Madden, and one of the things I've noticed is they kind of like to find creative ways to trick you into thinking there's more there than there actually is. And one of the ways they've done that is with the people that are walking around the stadium. So I've highlighted this gentleman here, but I want you, a little homework perhaps, go into your game and just watch how these people walk around on a loop. They never sit down, they just go around the concourse, and they never actually sit down. But a bigger issue for me is what happens when Richardson approaches the sideline box. And at first it looks like he's going to stop, right? He's going to stop his momentum, but instead, no, he just goes through it. And what is this? In all reality, what is going on with how bad this game is? Now, it doesn't just stop with the sideline interactions that are, for the large part, completely unacceptable. Look at the quality of this crowd. I mean, this is a next-gen console. This looks absolutely awful. This is from a Colts-Bills game, the beginning clip you saw, where the Colts are the away team. This is what the stands look like that day. We've got a person wearing what very much looks like a jersey right off the sidelines, someone in a button-up, regular arms that just don't look like arms, and I think this goes back to the Sapien technology, making them look awful. Let's take a look at MLB The Show. Look at the variety of clothing in this shot. Look at how natural the people look interacting with the game. You get none of this with Madden. Madden is so copy and paste, and to me, it's really no more prevalent than in the crowd. Now, before I get into a little bit more of the interactions that happen, I want to go back to Madden 25 and what they talked about with the living worlds. And this is something they failed, really, to bring in the game. They talk about how they want a dynamic, living world filled with energy, motion, and action. And that Madden NFL 25 was going to deliver that. Here we are, right, going into another Madden 25. And where are we? Console generations later. Have we improved? Right? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Let's take a look at MLB The Show. Let's take a look at a ball that's actually going to go into the pool. Right now, how would this be handled in Madden? Right? Because in this game, you've got kind of a child here that reaches out to get the ball. You see the ball rolling around in the water. It actually makes an audible splash when it hits. Right? That's attention to detail. That's meaningless. Right? But from an immersion standpoint, it means a lot. When we go back to Madden, what are we dealing with? Madden has players literally running into objects, because the player AI isn't there for them to acknowledge things are on the sidelines, crowds that look absolutely atrocious in response to it, and then sideline pieces that mean nothing. It's almost like he started and stopped a Lambeau leap, which isn't in the game anymore. They took out a lot of that interaction. Just watch this crowd here, please, and tell me, the girl in the front, wearing the number 54 jersey, what does she have in her hand? Now, as she stands up to cheer and just starts shifting and warping through everyone, can you explain to me, because I'm honestly asking a question, what is this? Is this supposed to be a rally rag? Is it a scarf? What do they have as the person just walks around? I know a lot of people are going to look at a video like this and say, oh my God, what a nitpick. Who cares? It's the sidelines. But what I want you to understand is EA cares, because EA has been selling us this for almost a decade. This is the immersion of a game. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it. I talk about this all the time, and I've used that analogy multiple times, because with EA, it's so true. It's so accurate. If you're not going to put in the sideline, and you're not going to have players that look proper, then don't put it in. Who cares? Right? We're not going to be able to nitpick in a way what's not there. We might say, hey, this is something we want added in, using the referees as a perfect example. For years, we said, hey, listen, we want the referees back in the game. They added the immersion. They make the game more fun to play. It makes the penalties kind of come to life. But that was the end of it, right? All we could say is we want them back in the game. Once you put them in the game properly, and to that point, if you recall, EA sat there and said, well, we can't put them in the game until they meet our standard. But Sapient technology allowed our standard to be upheld. Now we can sit back and criticize, critique if we want, how they look, the mannerisms, the movement, how they respond. A lot of people have realized the touchdown is the same actual animations that play over. Mentioned in one of my earlier videos, the referee kind of looks to the left because it's the same animation for whether a field goal is good or a touchdown is good. Again, we'll go back to attention to detail. Gamers will notice that. And why will gamers notice that? Because in my opinion, you have past consoles, past games that have done it better, that set a standard for what we expect. But more importantly, you have games like The Show who, let's be fair, from a stadium standpoint, from a living world's perspective, have just as many stadiums, just as much detail to capture. So we're going to set aside, oh, it's a different game, oh, it's a different sport, oh, EA can't compete with baseball because this is football. The world, the environment is the world, is the environment. Replicating a stadium is the same task for either gaming company. And it's clear when you're looking at fans, when you're looking at living worlds, when you're looking at the context visually of the environment, EA is always as far behind as one can imagine in making a quality sports title. Going back to yesterday's video talking about the ratings, this is a large reason why. Because no matter where you look in this game, from on-field to presentation to off-field, it looks and plays awful. Because they refused to be the standard bearer for just one thing in sports gaming. You can't point to Madden unless you want to say maybe how they promote Ultimate Team and say EA holds the standard for how this is to be done. Just about every other sports game becomes the standard compared to Madden. And that is why I will always be back in the week with more commentary.